Paige Bueckers, she ain't gonna be Caitlin Clark. Not now, not today, not ever. Sorry, it ain't gonna happen.
Why hasn't Middle America given Paige Bueckers the Caitlin Clark treatment?
Well, the ratings are out. How much Paige Bueckers is moving the needle? There's already statistical evidence. No, she is not moving the needle in women's sports or women's basketball nearly to the effect of Caitlin Clark.
Paige Bueckers is back in the spotlight, but this time it's not for dropping buckets or making defenders disappear. No, this time it's personal. Because while the world can't stop talking about Caitlin Clark, Paige is staring straight into the storm. Frustrated, fired up, and fed up with being overlooked. Nobody saw this coming. She's not just battling opponents anymore. She's battling the narrative. She hears the applause for Clark, the headlines, the hype, and somewhere deep inside, Paige believes, I've done enough. I've earned that stage too. But here's the twist. The game doesn't hand out crowns based on belief. It demands proof, pain, and pressure. And while Caitlin Clark continues rewriting history, Paige Bueckers, she's rewriting her own story, one driven by frustration, fire, and a hunger to remind the world that she's still that girl. They walk different paths. They wear different jerseys, but make no mistake, this rivalry just got real. And if you think Paige is backing down, you've clearly forgotten who she is. This changes everything. Who's really got next? Drop your pick in the comments, because the battle for the throne is only getting started.
Paige Bueckers has had one of the best careers in the history of women's college basketball. And looking at these ratings for the women's tournament, it is abundantly clear Paige Bueckers might be a star, but she's not a draw.
Paige Bueckers is stepping into the WNBA. The lights were supposed to be blinding. The arenas packed. The energy electric, like a queen returning to claim her crown. But the moment didn't hit like a royal entrance. It hit like a reality check, because the cheers muted, the crowds scattered, and those massive endorsement deals still waiting. Nobody expected this. The truth? Paige isn't commanding the court the way fans hoped. Not yet. Not like Caitlin. Clark! The stats, the dominance, the cultural gravity, Clark's got it. Paige is still chasing it, and now the world's asking the hard questions. Why isn't Paige lighting up the league? What's holding her back? This isn't hate. This is the harsh spotlight of professional sports, where hype dies fast if it's not backed by numbers, noise, and next level play. So today we break it all down. Why the Paige versus Caitlin comparison might be media fiction, and why Paige Bueckers may never reach that Clark level orbit. But then again, maybe this is just her origin story. If you're riding with Caitlin Clark, smash that subscribe and drop a CC 100% in the comments below, because this debate is far from over.
A lot of people are saying, oh, everything is she was Caitlin before Caitlin, she's better than Caitlin, all this stuff. That kind of stopped in the media. Caitlin Clark put up better numbers in the WNBA than Paige did in college.
Caitlin Clark isn't just playing basketball. She's breaking records, dominating headlines, and single-handedly turning women's hoops into must-watch TV. She's not just part of the game, she's redefining it. Meanwhile, Paige Bueckers, she's been sitting courtside in interviews, talking, not torching. And lately, this felt like she's not fighting for greatness. She's fighting for recognition that she hasn't earned. Not yet, because Clark didn't ask for respect. She took it. With every dagger three, every sold-out arena, every moment that left fans speechless. Now Paige is demanding to be viewed in the same light. Like she's already walked the same path. This ain't confidence. This feels like entitlement. Let's be clear. This isn't a rivalry built on equals. It's a comparison that's starting to feel tone deaf, even disrespectful, because one of these women revolutionized the game, and the other, she's still trying to find her place in it. So let's dig into this dynamic, the real story behind the headlines and what it means for the future of women's basketball. Because this battle is deeper than stats. It's about legacy.
Paige Bueckers is coming in, and she's going to be a driving force.
Clark is going against Paige and Dejanay. ESPN today, when they were talking about Paige, one of them says, I think Paige will be a good player this year, but I'm not expecting a Caitlin-like impact, and that's an unfair bar to set. Dallas Wings using the promo poster of Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark to hype that game.
Now let's talk Paige Bueckers. Yeah, her college debut, electric. Her freshman season had fans and scouts whispering, future legend. But since then, it's been a roller coaster. Injuries, long stints off the floor, flashes of greatness. Then long silences. Her numbers, she's barely cracked 20 points per game. Assists, solid, but far from elite. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark, she's been a one-woman army. Game after game, she's not just playing. She's dragging her program to national glory with every no-look diamond logo 3. And when it's crunch time, those final minutes when legacies are built, Clark rises, Paige disappears. But somehow, some voices still want us to treat them as equals. Same respect, same spotlight. Let's be real. That just doesn't hold weight because one of them's rewriting history and the other, she's still trying to write her next chapter.
2025 WNBA draft average 1.5, the second highest ratings ever. So its peak was 1 million viewers less than the average for the Caitlin Clark experience. The viewership literally got cut in half. Hell of a lot of people said, Caitlin Clark's gone. I'm going to do something else with my day. And of course, last year, Caitlin Clark came out. The WNBA saw its far and away biggest rating ever for the WNBA draft.
Let's talk star power, the kind that shakes the sport to its core. When Caitlin Clark steps on the hardwood, the world doesn't just watch, it reacts. She's not just drawing crowds, she's breaking viewership records even. Outpacing NBA games on the same night. Networks are scrambling to lock in rights. Because when Clark plays, eyes are glued. She didn't just show up at a WNBA draft, she transformed it into a cultural moment, record-breaking crowds. Ticket resale prices through the roof, and viral clips exploding in minutes. When she hits the court, arenas fill, hashtags trend, and every move becomes a highlight. Millions watch because millions care. And here's the truth. This isn't hype. This is undeniable dominance. Caitlin Clark isn't just playing the game. She's redefining it, reshaping its future, and turning women's basketball into a global must-watch. She's not just part of the moment, she is the moment.
She is the chosen one, as they say. That may not be the case for Bueckers. For those of you wondering if Paige's acceptance into the WNBA will be different than Caitlin, delusional fan base that follows Caitlin Clark disrespected the WNBA players by saying she's going to go into that league and tear.
Meanwhile, Paige Bueckers had the entire ESPN machine behind her. Wall-to-wall promos, pre-draft hype, the narrative, she was next. This was supposed to be her moment, but when the viewership numbers dropped, the truth hit hard. Her draft pulled. In just half the audience that Caitlin Clark commanded the year before. Half! That's not bad luck. That's a message from the fans. They're not buying what the media's selling because star power can't be manufactured. It's earned. And right now, Caitlin Clark delivers it in spades. Electric moments, record-breaking crowds, game-changing, energy, while Paige, she's left standing in the shadows, not because she isn't talented, but because this league, it runs on impact, and Caitlin's running the show.
The Caitlin Clark effect is real. There's evidence of that in college women's basketball ratings, and there's evidence of that now in the 2025 WNBA draft on ESPN delivered the second most viewed WNBA draft ever, averaging 1.25 million viewers. The spin is real from the media.
Let's be real. This isn't about who posts the best workout selfies or who sheds the most tears at press conferences. This is about one thing, pure on-court dominance and fan obsession. Caitlin Clark doesn't need a PR team to make her look legendary. Her numbers do the talking, loud and clear. She's the name echoing through packed arenas. The face fans drive miles to witness live. While others chase attention, Caitlin, she commands it effortlessly. No gimmicks, no filters, no spin, just cold-blooded impact. She is the spotlight. And everyone else is just trying to keep up.
Caitlin Clark got beat up last year because Caitlin Clark was everything the women who she stood on the shoulders of weren't. She was a nice, straight girl that balled hard, had a different game, and it pissed everybody off, including the little gals on ES.
When Paige Bueckers steps in expecting the same red carpet as Caitlin, reality hits different because the truth is, Caitlin Clark's fame wasn't handed out. It was earned brick by brick, bucket by bucket, headline by headline. This kind of spotlight, It doesn't come from simply showing up. It comes from owning the moment relentlessly. Right now, there's only one name that defines that level of dominance: Caitlin Clark. To reach her orbit, you can't just blend in. You have to rise above in a league filled with killers. You have to outplay, outshine, and outlast. Caitlin has already set the bar, and matching it takes more than hype. It takes history-making hustle.
Monica McNuts and the Chimmies of the world and all the other clowns at ESPN that have tried to paint Caitlin Clark as popular for one reason, and that being a white.
Let's be honest, the media is scrambling, desperate to create a rivalry, trying to elevate Paige Bueckers as the next face of women's basketball. Why? Because Caitlin Clark has taken over the sport on her own terms. No flashy virtue signaling, no media campaign. Just straight up dominance. And that makes them nervous. Now ESPN anchors, talking heads, and social media pundits are pushing the Paige narrative, not because she's earned it, but because they need a counterweight to Clark's rising legend. They fear a world where one player has all the gravity. So they start spinning, trying to force a rivalry that hasn't truly formed. But here's the reality. Caitlin Clark didn't need a narrative. She built her empire through performance, and the fans followed.
We want to see Caitlin Clark, and we want to see Paige Bueckers.
Caitlin scored more points per game, but Paige was more efficient.
Caitlin Clark entered the WNBA with more than just buzz. She came in carrying a legacy, a track record of record-shattering college performances, sold-out arenas, and endorsements from titans like Nike and State Farm, all before she played a single pro minute. How'd she pull it off? She didn't chase headlines. She didn't work the PR game. She didn't lean on identity politics or play social media strategy. She just balled out. Every night, every game, every possession. No polished speeches. No calculated branding. Just cold-blooded talent and a work ethic that left no room for doubt. She let her game speak, and the world listened. Because greatness doesn't beg for attention. It earns it.
As long as she comes in the league and she joins the likes of Dejanay Carrington and all these others that are always promoting some kind of activism, she's not going to know. Why? Because sports fans want to watch damn sport.
So how was Caitlin Clark welcomed into the WNBA? Not with confetti, not with celebration. She was met with hard fouls, hate tweets, and a storm of scorching hot takes. On the court, she faced physicality designed to break her. Off the court, mocked on TV, criticized in columns, doubted by analysts, shaded by peers. Why? Because she didn't play by their script. She refused to conform. And that refusal threatened the system. Her presence alone disrupted the media's neatly packaged narrative. Meanwhile, Paige Bueckers, she's searching for the spotlight, craving the attention, but without the grind, the pressure, the performance that earns it. Let's be real. Success isn't a reward, it's a responsibility. And the spotlight, it doesn't just shine, it scorches. Only the truly dedicated can survive the heat.
And Thomas contrast how white Americans view the two based on stark differences in speaking out against racial injustice. Quote, perhaps it's because, unlike Clark, Bueckers has always been outspoken about issues off the court, Thomas wrote in a Guardian article. At the 2021 ESPYs, Bueckers was named the College Athlete of the Year. She used her acceptance speech to celebrate and honor black women in particular. In Bueckers' famous ESPYs speech, she used her platform to recognize those who didn't get the same recognition as her, specifically highlighting black women. While black America cheered Bueckers, it seemed like mainstream white America, a demographic once viewed her as, in her words, a media darling, weren't signaling out her praises. Is it a coincidence, or maybe because her injuries have made people forget her greatness as an...
There's a growing trend. A media movement quietly positioning Paige Bueckers as the ideal counterpart to Caitlin Clark, whatever that really means. They paint her as polished, media-safe, socially approved, a carefully curated image to contrast the one who's actually changing the game. But let's call it for what it is. Paige hasn't consistently been the standout, not even on her own team. Her biggest moments? Not buzzer beaters, not game winners, but sound bites and symbolic nods, moments built for headlines, not highlight reels. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's greatness is not loud, but it hits hard. Every clutch shot, every game-shifting play, real impact every time. Yet the media clings to Paige, not because she's leading the game, but because she fits the narrative they're more comfortable promoting. She's the safe choice. Caitlyn? She's the disruptor they never saw coming and still can't control.
Back from injury, and now why aren't people focused on Bueckers as they were Clark last year when she was tearing up college basketball? Maybe if Bueckers had delivered a more vanilla ESPY speech, things would be different. This is a completely embarrassing article. Caitlin Clark is a worldwide phenomenon whose playing style has drawn a level of hype that hasn't been seen in basketball.
What we're witnessing isn't a rivalry born from epic matchups or passionate fan debates. This is the epitome of a manufactured rivalry. It wasn't built in arenas, it was crafted in editorial rooms, podcast scripts, and TV segments. The mainstream media, sidelined as Caitlin Clark rose without their blessing, is now scrambling to reclaim the narrative they never owned. They didn't discover her, they didn't shape her rise, and they sure as hell didn't give her permission to dominate, and that terrifies them. So in a rushed attempt to balance the spotlight, they've begun overhyping Paige Bueckers, trying to force parody where it doesn't exist. But here's the thing. You can't fake authenticity. You can't script legacy. Fans know the real thing when they see it. And that's why this manufactured rivalry is starting to fall apart.
Looking forward to seeing Caitlin Clark play. That are mad she's on national TV. They're going to brutalize her.
Let's talk about the excuses. The ones you hear every time someone tries to elevate Paige Bueckers over Caitlin Clark. Pundits love to say Paige had the superior college career on paper, while conveniently ignoring she spent chunks of it injured and on the sideline. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark was rewriting record books in real time. They'll cherry pick efficiency stats, claiming Paige is more polished, but skip right over the avalanche of production Caitlin brought every night. Points, assists, game-changing impact. And let's talk about adversity, Caitlin. She took elbows to the face, got frozen out by teammates, and was publicly targeted by veterans. She earned her spotlight in the fire. Paige? She's largely avoided the heat. On the court and in the media, she plays it safe. Politically, socially, and for the press, that's the perfect package. But here's the real problem. Playing it safe doesn't build legends. It doesn't spark fandom. It doesn't drive headlines or fill arenas because safe doesn't sell.
Caitlin Clark is the GOAT.
She signed my jersey! So happy, I'm crying. I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
Caitlin Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
I love watching her score and just everything about her.
They went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
This is great news for women's basketball.
Let's look at the raw data. When Caitlin Clark declared for the WNBA draft in 2024, it didn't just make headlines, it made history. 0.5 million viewers, peaking at over 3 million. This wasn't just a draft. It was a cultural moment, a shift in the sport, the start of a new era. Fast forward to 2025, Paige Bueckers' turn. Despite nonstop pre-draft hype and heavy media push, viewership? Just over $1.2 million. That's not a slight dip. That's a collapse. A loud signal, no matter how ESPN tried to spin it. Because the fans knew this draft didn't have Caitlin. And without her, it just didn't hit the same. The buzz, the energy, the national pull, gone. This isn't just about ratings. It's about impact. And Caitlin Clark didn't just raise the bar, she became the bar.
So was the WNBA. I would have considered a separate television package to a network on just Caitlin Clark games. I would have had two packages, the WNBA package, and then a separate, let's say, 15 to 18 game Caitlin Clark.
Let's go courtside. When Caitlin Clark is on the schedule, arenas sell out. Tickets reselling for hundreds, sometimes even thousands. The Indiana Fever saw it firsthand, a nearly 90% spike in road attendance and a jaw-dropping 265% increase at home. This isn't just interest, it's a movement. Clark didn't just show up. She turned the once quiet WNBA calendar into the hottest ticket in sports. She moved people, not just in the stands, but emotionally, across cities, across generations, across fan bases. Every game became an event, every appearance a memory, because when Caitlin Clark steps on the floor, she doesn't just play the game, she changes the atmosphere.
Clark.
166,000. A new record for a female athlete. Caitlin is the needle. Smashed the old record held by Serena by $100,000.
Who's going to be the next face of the NBA? We don't get to decide that. The marketplace decides that. The people have chosen Caitlin Clark. They enjoy watching her play, her style, her energy, her shot. Whether it's because her game mirrors one of the greatest players in the NBA in Steph Curry or not, I don't know what it is. It's an intangible thing, right? Yes, we can say she's a dog. Okay, there's been other dogs. Okay, she's a great shooter. There's been other great shooters. She has it. She's got the thing.
And for Caitlin Clark to have the awareness to drive the eyeballs there, you have to give her so much credit.
Now let's talk contrast, because fans aren't lining up to watch Paige Bueckers. Her games aren't dominating primetime slots. And ticket prices, they're not skyrocketing. Unlike Caitlin Clark, Paige's arrival hasn't shaken the league. It hasn't sparked a movement. It's barely made a ripple. And the difference? Crystal clear. You can't force fan obsession with media hype and curated storylines. You can't manufacture magic in a boardroom. Fans show up when they're moved. When someone truly inspires them, and right now, that inspiration comes from one name, Caitlin Clark.
Is not only the needle mover, she is the needle, but at this point, it's pretty clear Caitlin Clark is driving the bus and driving the set.
Let's talk Caitlin Clark and the social media storm she commands. She doesn't just play ball, she owns platforms like TikTok, Instagram, X, and YouTube. Millions of views every single week. Crossover highlights, no-look dimes, game-winning daggers. They don't just go viral. They define the moment. And brands, they are watching. Gatorade, Nike, State Farm. They didn't hesitate. They lined up to lock in the most electrifying name in women's sports. Sure? Paige Bueckers has sponsorships. But let's be honest, they don't compare because this isn't personal, it's business. And brands follow attention. They invest in momentum. They bet on the one who's setting the internet on fire. Caitlin Clark isn't just an athlete. She's a cultural icon, a walking headline, a living highlight reel. And the world can't stop watching.
Caitlin Clark has taken women's college basketball by storm. It's because she's white, and all of her fans are white, and they're all racist.
I'm looking forward to seeing Caitlin Clark play. That are mad she's on national TV. They're going to brutalize her.
Like Caitlin Clark because she's not a victim, because she doesn't seem to be angry. And so they find her relatable. She's not playing with anger. She's not playing with a sense of entitlement. And yes, people find that relatable. She shoots logo threes, passes the ball like Magic Johnson, scores a lot of points, leads the league in assists. She's a great, great player, and she plays and shoots and releases the ball like Steph Curry. So there's the attraction to the exciting.
If you're